This is another podcast from Alpha Business Media. Okay, let's unpack this. When we often think of Nepal, our minds usually jump straight to, its majestic peaks, ancient temples, those incredible trekking trails. But what if its greatest conquests today are actually happening in the digital realm? We're diving deep into Nepal's burgeoning creative economy. It's like a quiet but incredibly rapid revolution unfolding far beyond those traditional images. So what exactly is this creative economy? Can you break that down?
Yeah, absolutely. Essentially, it's a sector driven by ideas, by raw talent, and crucially, by technology. Think of it as a place where the results of intellectual activity get bought and sold. Things like original design, software code, music, video, all sorts of media content. It really emerges at that fascinating intersection of culture, technology, and entrepreneurship,
Okay.
and was propelling this transformation in Nepal. Well, it seems to be a kind of perfect storm of factors. Increasingly affordable internet, some really bold local innovation, and the emergence of a new generation of incredibly dynamic creatives.
Right.
So our mission today is to explore how this country, so renowned for its ancient culture, is actively building its digital future. We'll look at what innovative platforms and business models are fueling this boom and what fascinating insights we can glean for you.
For a long time, the stereotype of Nepal having slow, unstable internet was pretty firmly entrenched, like almost a running joke. But is that still the reality, especially, say, in major cities or popular tourist spots?
It's truly remarkable how quickly that story has changed. And here's where it gets really interesting. That long-held stereotype, it's just not true anymore, particularly in places like Kathmandu, Pokhara, or other tourist hubs. The internet can be incredibly stable and fast.
Really? The fast how?
Well, I recently heard about a digital nomad working remotely from Pokhara describing stable internet with genuinely impressive speeds. 300 millisecond download, 80 millisecond upload, and get this complete with a battery backup system to handle those historical power outages.
Wow. Okay, so not just fast, but reliable too.
Exactly. And this isn't just a one-off case. It feels like a new reality driven by increased competition and significant investment from local operators.
That's a huge leap. And what does that kind of reliable, high-speed internet actually mean for the everyday Nepali, especially maybe young entrepreneurs?
What's truly transformative here is how profoundly this technological shift lowers the barrier to entry into the digital business world. It's quite profound. I mean, when all you really need is a smartphone and an affordable data package to start a business or create content, well, it genuinely democratizes entrepreneurship.
Right.
It just opens up entirely new opportunities for young people across the country, letting them participate in the economy in ways that simply weren't possible just a few years back.
And the market is competitive now, you said. That's usually great for users, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Competition is driving things forward.
So who are the key players and what do these attractive tariffs actually look like? Are we talking really cheap?
Yeah, pretty affordable, especially for the region. You've got three major mobile players.
Yeah.
Nepal Telecom, or NTC Onsel, and Smart Telecom. Their competition has really pushed prices down, making mobile internet one of the lowest cost options in the entire region.
Okay, like how low?
For example, you can find rates from NTC starting as low as 24 cents per gigabyte. Ncell starts around $1 to 10 cents per gigabyte.
That is cheap.
It is. And for tourists or expats, there's even more flexibility. International eSIM providers like YesIM offer plans from about $3.48, Airelo from $9.50. So access is really easy.
And why is that so important just for checking email?
Well, it's much more than that. This kind of widespread, affordable access is critical because it enables not just consumption, but the creation of heavy content. We're talking high-definition video, live streams, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It forms the essential basis for a robust domestic digital market. You need that bandwidth.
It sounds incredibly positive, almost too good to be true in some ways. But is this digital revolution reaching everyone equally? What about areas, outside the main cities?
That's a really critical point to consider.
Yeah.
And no, it's not equal yet. While the progress is truly impressive, high-quality internet, that's 4G and especially the emerging 5G, is still primarily an urban phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
In remote and high-mountain areas, the connection often remains unstable. You might drop down to 2G or simply have no signal at all.
And the consequence of that?
Well, the risk is that this digital divide could actually exacerbate existing economic inequalities. It concentrates the opportunities of this new creative economy in just a few urban centers rather than spreading the benefits across the country. It's a challenge that definitely needs addressing as the sector matures.
Yeah, okay, so a definite challenge there. But where that digital foundation is strong, it's clearly enabling some truly inspiring local entrepreneurship. You mentioned something interesting earlier, infrastructure entrepreneurship. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, it's a fascinating trend. We're seeing companies that aren't just creating, say, another app or product. They're actually building the missing links in Nepal's economic and social systems. And they're using technology as their main tool.
Okay, give me an example. What does that look like in practice?
A perfect illustration is Kalti. It launched back in 2017.
Oh, yeah, the digital wallet. I've heard of that.
Exactly. It's become absolutely integral to Nepal's financial landscape. It's essentially a digital wallet and payment gateway. The scale is huge. Over 15 million users now, handling an annual transaction turnover of, wait for it, $1 billion. It's basically a systemically important financial institution.
$1 billion.
And what's truly significant is why it's so successful. It directly addresses one of Nepal's key challenges, the low penetration of traditional banking services. You could use it to pay for almost anything: utility bills, mobile top-ups, movie tickets, flights, you name it.
And how has it managed to reach so many people, especially in more remote areas where presumably traditional banking is even less accessible?
That's where their model is clever. They built this incredible network of over 95,000 physical Kalti Pasals. These are essentially local agents or small shops dotted all across the country.
Ah, so
But-
cash-in points?
Precisely. This allows people, even in remote areas, without easy bank access, to just walk in, top up their digital wallets with cash, and then access all these financial services. And it's not just business. They also have a strong social mission. Look at their Smart Chori campaign. It's aimed at empowering women and girls with essential digital and financial literacy.
That's fantastic, fostering economic independence.
Exactly. It's a great example of a for-profit enterprise that's deeply integrated with social impact.
That's a powerful combination. Okay, now for something completely different, but you mentioned it tackling massive challenges. What about waste management? Is technology making a dent there?
There absolutely is. There's a startup called Kalisi. It's a digital platform that's literally changing how waste is managed in places like Kathmandu.
Khaleesi. Okay, how does it work?
It's basically a mobile app. It connects households who want to recycle things, plastic, paper, metal, with local waste collection entrepreneurs, the recyclers themselves. It essentially creates an efficient and transparent market for these secondary raw materials, which is crucial for a country grappling with waste issues.
That makes sense. And what's their ambition with this? Are they seeing real-world results yet?
Their ambition is, frankly, huge and commendable: to help Nepal become one of the top 20 countries globally for waste recycling by 2030.
Wow, top 20.
Yeah. And they're already making a difference. They're removing thousands of tons of garbage annually. The figures I saw were around 4,000 tons of plastic, 2,500 tons of paper each year.
That's significant.
It is. But the broader impact is maybe even more compelling. This startup is formalizing and making safer the work of these often marginalized recyclers. It provides them with fair prices, a steady flow of orders. It's solving a really pressing environmental problem while also creating new jobs and improving livelihoods.
Technology for profit and social good again?
Exactly. It really shows how creativity and technology can bring both profit and significant social benefit. It's not just about the bottom line.
It sounds like a fantastic blueprint. Now let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about what might be the most dynamic, the most visible part of Nepal's creative economy: digital content. With cheap internet and affordable smartphones becoming widespread, what kind of content landscape is actually emerging? I've heard some buzz about a Nepali YouTube phenomenon. Is that really a big deal?
Oh, it's massively significant. Calling it a phenomenon isn't an exaggeration. Nepali YouTube is so much more than just, a video hosting site. It's become the main stage for self-expression, for entertainment, even for news for millions of Nepalese.
Main stage.
Yeah.
More than TV.
In many ways, yes, especially for younger demographics. What's truly remarkable here isn't just the sheer audience size, although that's impressive. It's how it completely bypasses traditional media gatekeepers. Think about it. It demonstrates this powerful democratization of storytelling and cultural influence. Everyday individuals can directly shape national conversations, national identity, something traditional media in many developing nations has often struggled to achieve. It's like a blueprint for grassroots cultural entrepreneurship.
That's a really profound observation. So what kind of scale are we actually talking about here? Can you give us some examples of these channels? How big are they?
The scale is incredible. Some leading Nepali channels have audiences comparable to the populations of small countries. It's wild. For instance, channels like Ayush and Abhay, They have something like 13.3 million subscribers. Music Nepal, a big label, has 9.6 million on their channel. Buddha Suba Digital, another major player, 8.2 million.
13 million, that's huge.
It is. And then you have popular gaming channels like 2B Gamer with 5.3 million, Laka Gaming with 4.1 million subscribers. What's really compelling is that Nepali YouTube has evolved into a full-fledged industry now. There are clearly defined, incredibly popular genres: music, gaming, movies, general entertainment, all with immense commercial potential. It's not just hobbyists anymore.
It seems like every major economic shift, every cultural shift really, has its pioneers. Someone who really embodies the transformation. Is there a figure like that who represents this creative revolution in Nepal?
That's a great question. And yeah, I think if Nepal's creative revolution had a face, it would probably be Bania.
Sisambania, okay.
His journey is almost perfectly emblematic of the entire industry's transformation. He started way back in 2007. Get this, filming short, funny videos on an old Sony Ericsson push-button phone.
No way! A feature phone.
Yeah. Fast forward to today, his personal YouTube channel has over 800,000 subscribers, and he's become one of the most influential media entrepreneurs in the entire country.
So he didn't just stick with vlogging then. He built something bigger.
Oh no, he didn't stop there at all. If we connect this to the bigger picture, Sisan didn't just remain a popular vlogger. That was just the start. In 2017, he founded Paradigm TV. It's become this creative hub, supporting young talent, producing content. He's launched a really popular podcast featuring interviews with thought leaders, business, politics, arts. He even created the Paradigm Sports Network.
Wow, an entire ecosystem.
Essentially, yes. He built an entire media ecosystem around his personal brand. And his content, whether it's these breathtaking travel vlogs exploring Nepal or documentary sketches about local traditions, it doesn't just entertain. It actively shapes a new image of the country, both internally and externally. And he's inspired thousands of young people to actually pursue creative professions. He's a major influencer in the truest sense.
And as this whole content market matures, are we seeing Nepal develop its own streaming services? Maybe homegrown alternatives to the global giants like Netflix or Spotify?
Absolutely. That's another sign of maturity. Nepal has begun to sprout its own streaming services. And they're cleverly competing. How? By focusing on exclusive local content, which the global giants might overlook, and by offering remarkably convenient payment methods suited to the local market.
Interesting. Like what?
Well, a striking example is Music Roots. It's an application focused on Nepali music and local movies. Its business model is super flexible. You can sign up for a low-cost subscription, daily, weekly, or monthly options. Or you can just opt for pay-per-view for specific content.
Okay, flexible. But how do they handle payments if card penetration is low?
Ah, that's the key advantage. It's closely integrated with the major mobile operators, like NTC and Ncell. This allows users to pay directly from their mobile phone balance. Simple, easy, and it completely bypasses the issue of low bank card penetration.
That's smart. Very smart.
Isn't it? Another notable player is Geet Music. It's supported by the Giant Music Nepal label and Ncell, also offering a huge library of Nepali and international music.
So what does the emergence of these homegrown platforms really signify for Nepal's digital media landscape overall?
Well, this really underscores the growth of a fully fledged national digital media ecosystem. It's not just pieces anymore. It now encompasses every link in the chain, from the content creators themselves, like Sisambania, right through to these sophisticated distribution platforms and innovative monetization models like paying with your phone balance.
Right.
It's becoming a self-sustaining system. It proves that Nepal isn't just consuming global content anymore. It's actively creating, distributing, and monetizing its own content for its own audience.
Okay, this is impressive growth. But of course, rapid growth in creative industries like this. It wouldn't be possible without a continuous pipeline of qualified specialists, right? You need the talent. How is Nepal addressing that demand? Where are these creators, designers, coders coming from?
It's quite interesting, actually. Nepal seems to be developing a really effective two-tier education system in response to this demand. On one hand, you have the universities providing that fundamental knowledge, the theoretical base. And on the other, you have these flexible private academies that are quickly delivering very marketable skills, directly tailored to what the industry needs right now.
Okay, let's break that down. What's the role of the traditional academic institutions here, the universities?
Well, on the academic side, universities are definitely laying the groundwork. Kathmandu University School of Arts, known as KUSOA, is a key player. It was founded way back in 1996. They offer relevant programs like a Bachelor in Media Studies, Bachelor of Fine Arts with specializations in graphic communication and studio art, even crafted design.
So proper degree programs.
Exactly. And other major universities like Tribhuvan and Purbanchal are also developing programs in fields like fashion design, interior design, graphic design. They're building that essential theoretical foundation.
Right. And the academies, how do they fit into this picture, especially given how fast technology changes in these fields?
Yeah, that's where they shine. What's fascinating here is how these specialized academies truly fill a crucial gap. Let's face it, traditional university systems, almost by design, are inherently slower. They can't always pivot quickly enough to keep pace with the rapid technological shifts we're seeing in areas like, say, 3D animation or visual effects software.
True. Curriculums take time to update.
Exactly. But these private training centers, they can respond almost immediately to industry demand, churning out graduates with specific in-demand skills much, much faster.
Can you give us some examples of these academies and what makes them so effective? What are they doing differently?
Certainly. You have academies like Mindrisers, Skill Training Nepal, Animsomaniac, and Incessant Rain Academy is another big one. They offer intensive focused courses. Their main features are, first, a very practical focus. They teach the actual industry standard software people use like Autodesk Maya, Blender, After Effects.
Hands-on skills.
Totally hands-on. Second, the classes are often taught by practicing professionals, people who have real current industry experience, not just academics.
That makes a difference.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
And third, they are incredibly result-oriented. The main goal isn't just getting a diploma to hang on a wall. It's about building a strong portfolio, a demo reel that will actually get you hired.
Right, tangible outcomes. And I think you mentioned one of them, Incessant Rain, has a particularly ambitious vision.
Yes, Incessant Rain Academy really stands out. It was founded by industry veterans, people with international experience. They even have advisors from Hollywood. And their mission is stated very explicitly: to train genuinely world-class creative talent who can compete and work in the global market, but without having to leave Nepal.
Wow. Keeping talent local but working globally.
Precisely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, well, the emergence of centers like this could fundamentally transform Nepal's position. It could shift from being primarily a consumer of global creative content to a significant exporter of high-tech creative services, really solidifying its place as a knowledge economy. That's the potential.
Okay, so we've painted a pretty vibrant picture: fast internet, innovative startups, booming content, a growing talent pool. But despite all these impressive successes, it sounds like Nepal's creative economy is also experiencing some, let's say, pretty serious growing pains. You mentioned this idea of bottom-up versus top-down development being out of sync. Can you explain that a bit more? What's the friction?
That's right. Essentially, the development we've discussed has been largely bottom-up. It's been driven by the incredible energy, the innovation, the hustle of individual entrepreneurs and creators on the ground. However, the supporting top-down infrastructure, things like cohesive national legislation, supportive government policies, robust financial institutions that understand this new economy, that part is noticeably lagging behind. And this gap, this disconnect between the grassroots energy and the formal structures right now, that feels like the main obstacle holding the sector back from reaching the next level of maturity.
So when we talk about legislation and policy specifically, what are the actual sticking points? What's missing or not working?
Well, it's a critical point to consider. International organizations like UNESCO and the British Council, they've both done studies and highlighted a legislative framework that just hasn't kept pace with the market realities. It's lagging significantly.
For example?
For example, artists and musicians often face a virtual absence of effective copyright protection systems. How do you protect your intellectual property? There's a lack of clear mechanisms for ensuring fair payments and royalties for creative work. And often, artists themselves simply aren't aware of their rights or how to enforce them.
That sounds like a big problem.
It is. And it seems the government hasn't yet given this sector the focused attention it perhaps deserves, despite its clearly growing contribution to the overall economy. This lack of a clear, supportive legal framework makes it really difficult for creative businesses to fully professionalize, to attract larger investments, to plan long-term.
And speaking of investment, successful projects, successful startups, they need capital to scale up, right? What does Nepal's venture capital market actually look like? Is the money flowing?
Well, Nepal does have a nascent private equity and venture capital market. It's definitely there and growing. According to one report I saw, 8 major funds invested about $66 million in local companies over a 10-year period, roughly 2012 to 2022.
Okay, $66 million over 10 years. And where did that money go?
What's fascinating here, and it confirms what we've been talking about, is that the information technology sector actually leads in terms of the number of transactions.
Hmm.
So IT and digital businesses are definitely seen as attractive investments.
Who are some of the players?
You have funds like Team Ventures, Athianta, Dolma Impact Fund, One to Watch. These are some of the key names. And importantly, they often do more than just provide funding. They run acceleration programs, things like GROPE HX Everest or AAP-DIAL, which offer crucial mentorship and strategic guidance to help young companies get ready for investment and growth.
So the ecosystem is developing, but is there enough capital available? Is that $66 million over a decade enough to fuel the kind of growth and potential we're seeing?
That's really the crux of the challenge on the funding side. While this VC market is definitely growing, the total available capital is still relatively small on a global scale, especially when you talk about later stage funding needed for significant expansion. This creates a kind of glass ceiling for the growth of many promising Nepali startups. They might get seed funding, maybe a Series A, but then find it harder to get the larger checks needed to really scale up, to compete internationally, to reach their full potential.
Right, the scale-up challenge. So given these hurdles, the policy gaps, the funding limitations, what are some concrete steps being proposed to help Nepal's creative economy overcome these challenges and truly flourish?
Well, experts, for instance, from the British Council who studied this, have proposed some pretty clear, actionable steps. First, they recommend conducting a proper national survey to truly assess the creative industry's real contribution to the country's GDP. This needs to include the often large informal sector to get an accurate picture.
Okay, measure it properly first.
Exactly. Know what you're dealing with. Second, they suggest actively protecting and promoting the Made in Nepal brand. This could involve using tools like geographical indications, certifying a product's unique origin and quality like champagne or Parma ham, and robust trademarks for unique local creative products. Build that brand value.
Makes sense.
And finally, a crucial point, moving beyond just providing digital access, making sure people can get online towards ensuring digital equality. This means actively developing the population's skills in actually using digital tools effectively for business, helping them participate not just in the national market, but potentially the global market too. It's about skills, not just infrastructure.
So to kind of wrap things up, it feels like Nepal is confidently laying the foundation for a brand new kind of economy, one really built on local talent and technology, the affordable internet access, these innovative startups solving real Nepali problems, the booming digital content market, and that developing flexible talent pipeline. It all represents genuinely impressive progress, especially considering where things were not long ago.
Yeah, absolutely. So what does this all mean for Nepal's future? I think you could say Nepal really stands at a crossroads right now. Overcoming these significant challenges, the lagging legislation, the shortage of smart scale-up money that will ultimately determine whether this current creative boom can truly evolve. Can it become a sustainable, mature knowledge economy that genuinely benefits the whole country? That's the big question.
It really is. Nepal's future, it seems, is being written not only in ancient manuscripts anymore, but increasingly in lines of code, in viral vlogs, and in the innovative business plans of these new startups. It makes you wonder, what other countries, often seen mainly through traditional lenses, might also be quietly building unexpected digital futures right under our noses? And maybe more importantly for you listening, what can you learn from Nepal's agile, sometimes messy, but definitely energetic, bottom-up approach to economic transformation? Something to think about.